Well, welcome to the 2019 Audi S5 review, courtesy of European Performance. So that's where this vehicle is located, in Raleigh, North Carolina. I will leave their information down below, but here we are with this global pandemic that we have going on here. Coming across a vehicle like this, or even building it, is probably going to take you, what, six months to a year even to get your hands on a vehicle of this caliber. So well, first of all, we'll start out with the exterior, and we will make our way into the interior and finally with the drive. So let's get some specs out of the way while you witness this exterior. We have here a 3-liter V6 engine that's turbocharged, producing 354 horsepower and 369 pounds-feet of torque. Very healthy numbers, and it will do 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. Weighs about 4,000 pounds according to Audi's press media sites. Quad tip exhausts. There we have it. This is the Sportback, of course. You have the option of getting the S5 in a convertible and a coupe as well. But this Sportback is honestly one of my most favorite designs because it's sleek, very practical, and we'll check out the trunk in a little bit. And we also have your Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, wrapped in 265 wide tires, and these are the 20-inch wheels. Looks amazing. However, I will say these tires are kind of overkill for a vehicle like this because all the S5s come with Quattro all-wheel drive as standard, and this vehicle just naturally has plenty of grip the way it's set up. Multi-link suspension both in the front and the rear, 5-link suspension. This vehicle could have easily gotten away with like a Continental Extreme Contact Plus tire, you know, like an all-season, a very aggressive all-season compound. That would have been just fine. Summer tires typically produce a little bit more noise than a all-season. Of course, we have the LED headlights. This is the Prestige model, mind you, fully loaded, decked out with the Bang and Olufsen sound system. Has some air currents on the side here. Front end finished in black, looks clean. And there we have it. That's the engine. That's the 3-liter V6. Smooth as silk, like in typical Audi fashion. I have driven this motor in the S4 already, so we'll kind of make some comparisons with the S4 and the S5 here in a little bit because of this chassis, the way it's set up. Being a Sportback, some might think that it might compromise the handling a little bit because typically to get this design and this shape, you actually have to add some bracing in the rear, which adds weight, and it's never quite as stiff as the sedan counterparts, but we'll talk more about that during the drive. Now let's go ahead, get inside this interior space and talk about that because this is indeed the Prestige fully loaded trim. So just to give you an idea, the Premium is the base model. Premium Plus is the middle grade trim. If you're buying a new one, I would typically recommend you getting the Premium Plus, but buying used, get the Prestige, at least look for it because you get this Bang and Olufsen sound system, definitely worth it. And we have some carbon fiber trimmings here, your memory seat functions, one-touch up and down windows for all 4 windows. Speaking of windows, we have like this pillarless door design, right, for all 4 windows, all 4 doors, I'm sorry. And here we have the seats, aged really well. This model has about 34,000 miles on it, and as you can see, not a whole lot of wrinkling or anything like that. A couple of white spots here and there, but that's about it. Otherwise, the seat comfort remains. The overall rigidity of the seat, the quality of it all remains. A full leather seat, and we have here electronic seats, of course, in a vehicle of this caliber with pretty good lumbar support as well. So let's kind of get in here, push button start. As standard, you get a 7-inch screen for your infotainment and a 12.3-inch screen for your digital gauge cluster. You can customize this screen to show you like a Google cockpit and all that good stuff. So kind of go through some of these options here. It does need an oil change, that's one thing. And there we have it. This vehicle is rated to get 21 in the city and 30 on the highway, which is pretty impressive. I recently checked out a Audi A5 convertible, and that's just the regular A5. I get it. with the 4-cylinder, but that thing returned unbelievable MPGs. Like, the real world MPG gains of a Audi product is excellent. So I wouldn't be surprised if this beats the EPA ratings of 21 in the city and 30 on the highway. Something to keep in mind there. That kind of makes owning this performance vehicle, possible, actually. Really kind of lowers that monthly cost that you have with the fuel bill. I've always liked this generation of the Audi infotainment because you have this screen that you can interact with this kind of touchpad. Everything has a nice clicky feel to it. All the buttons here, right? And you have physical buttons and controls for your entire HVAC. It makes it very easy to interact with. Everything has a premium feel and click to it. Heated and cooled seats, definitely for the Prestige model. Typically, I would recommend you turning off the traction and the auto stop start. That's what I would recommend you doing in these Audi cars because they just have so much natural grip that you don't need the traction. And the auto stop start, it can be a little bit cumbersome. It definitely has like a little bit of a delay when you get off the line, so I like to turn it off. Unfortunately, the vehicle does not remember when you turn it off, so that's something to keep in mind. I think comfort mode for this S5 should be pretty good, but you do have auto, dynamic, and individual to choose from, so we'll play with that as we drive. As you can see here, press back, you can press the menu button. A little bit of an older display since this is the 2019, but still works amazingly well, very quick to respond. I kind of like this more than the BMW iDrive systems. 2 cup holders, decent sized, and no real place to put your phone, unfortunately. You do have this nice carbon fiber material running across the entire dash and on the center console, but yeah, not a good place to put your phone. Well, there is right here, that's your wireless charging pad, but here's the thing that I don't like about this. You can't see your phone, unfortunately, when it's in there, but yes, that is where you would put it, but now you have no access to it because who's going to drive around with this thing open, right? So there you go. Glove box, okay space in there, but the books are taking up a lot of the space. You do have a sunroof here as well, just for the front here, not in the rear. Steering wheel is of excellent quality. Flat bottom design here. Buttons on the steering wheel to access your gauge cluster as well as your music and your track selections as well. Here's your cruise control stock here. And one thing that really pisses me off, this is like a Prestige fully loaded Audi product, yet it doesn't have like electronic steering wheel controls to move it around. Very strange, very bizarre. Not sure why they're doing that, but it is what it is. It's not a big deal. Once you set it, you're done, but just wanted to let you know. Automatic headlights, which is a great thing to see. But that's pretty much everything for the interior. Let's go ahead, jump into the back seats, see what that's all about. All right, with the seat set to my setting, as you can see, not a whole lot of space. Actually kind of difficult to get in and out of because this roof line is kind of sloped back, so if you're a little bit taller, over 6 feet tall, it could be a little bit difficult. I am 5'11", and it's still, I can manage, but just to let you know, yeah, the S4 Audi has way more rear legroom than this, that's for sure. So that's where you're compromising here with the S5 Sportback, but as you're about to see in the trunk segment, that's where this vehicle really makes it up compared to the S4. But yeah, if rear occupant space matters to you, then maybe look into the S4. But anyway, you do have climate control for the rear, which is helpful, and you have some USB ports here as well. Same leather quality continues, which is great to see. Kind of fold this down. You have kind of a small space to put cell phones in there, which is nice. All right, seems like you need to have this portion open to access your cup holders, but it's there. You can use it. It is what it is. No pass-through, but you can indeed fold down the rear seats, as you can see here. And here, we will pop open the trunk. Here's a look at the key. Pretty solid looking key. Looks good, feels good. And open that up. I don't think it'll let us because the vehicle is on right now, so I'll just go ahead and turn that off. You can also open the trunk from here, and opens up completely. I guess the biggest competition, especially for this year, is the BMW 440i, which I have driven, and I will make comparisons with that vehicle here. And there we have it. Pretty excellent space. Now, as you can see from that seat that I folded down, it's not completely flat, but you can put something heavy on it and make it flat. It's just a joke, but anyway, there you have it. Plenty of space. Just kind of flip this open here. And you even have a spare tire underneath, which is a huge help with some, side pockets here that you can actually put some extra things in. Close that up or even lock it. Lock all the doors, I mean. And pretty quick to open and close. All right, setting off in the 2019 Audi S5 with actually about 34,000 miles to be exact. And let's see how well this vehicle has aged and how it kind of gets up and goes. First, we'll kind of start off in the comfort mode here. Nice. All right, so that motor, one of the smoothest turbocharged 6-cylinder engines that you're going to be getting into. Really on par with like even BMW's inline 6. That's how good it is in terms of its smoothness and quickness. Of course, it is effortless. However, there's no drama with it. It's one of the most safest performance vehicles to drive out there. I mean, it's got the Quattro all-wheel drive. I have the traction control turned off here because I don't want it sapping out any more power than it needs to, because it doesn't need to sap anything out. We also have here the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires on here. Even with those tires, very quiet in here. There's not a whole lot of wind noise and definitely no real tire noise. So if you want these ultra sticky tires, you can go ahead and put them on your vehicle. It's overkill, but here we have it. It does not compromise the on-road, refinement at all. Yeah, we're in the comfort mode here, and it gets up to speed effortlessly. Like, it's not afraid to shift down or anything like that. We have here an 8-speed automatic transmission, like a traditional automatic. When I checked out the 2021 A5 convertible, that actually had a 7-speed dual clutch. So the S models for Audi, they typically come with this 8-speed. And it's a fantastic transmission. So we can go ahead, we can also shift it, or put it into the dynamic mode. Play with the paddles here. It pretty much reacts like a dual clutch transmission. Will auto upshift for you. You might be picking this up on the audio here, but it does kind of crackle and pop ever so slightly. You can also kind of shift the transmission into an automatic S mode if you want, so it'll just shift the most aggressively in that mode. I feel like the sounds slightly get a little bit more amplified and enhanced when you do put it into the sport mode. You kind of hear everything a little bit more. Could be baked into the speakers, who knows, but whatever it is, it sounds good, it sounds clean, it's not obnoxious, so I do really appreciate that. Such an easy vehicle to drive because the seating position is excellent. When a vehicle nails the seating position, that automatically gives you so much confidence in the vehicle. So this is everything about this. So easy to operate. Even in the sport mode, there's a slight delay when you're up and moving, but it's almost immediate for the most part. I don't really mind that. However, really, I would actually just drive around in the comfort mode because this is a little too overreactive at times. Really, the comfort mode does a great job getting up to speed, no problems. And we'll test out some of the handling here, and I will mention the ride quality here as well in a little bit. So let's kind of bust this little circle here, see what it can do. Slight hesitation off the line with the comfort mode. bit of body roll that does exist with this vehicle. I feel like the S4 is a hair sharper because it doesn't quite have all the extra weight in the rear and the extra bracing. This does compromise a little bit to get that look as well as that hatchback practicality. It's not a big deal for me, and this vehicle, when you do drive it hard, this will default to a more understeer characteristic. That's just something to note here. Again, trying to be as safe as possible to drive. People typically say that Audi steering is very numb, but I love the kind of natural weight that the Audi steering racks typically have, this electronic steering rack. I think it's fine, but is it like a hot-blooded vehicle? No, of course not, but I think most people realize that with Audi products at this point. The BMW, like the B58s that they use and like the 440 models, especially for back in 2019, it's not exactly like some firecracker, nutcracker of an engine, okay? It's also kind of a smooth experience, much like this. Effortless power, and you know what? I think this is a great blend between what you actually need out in the street and all the kind of practical performance that you're gonna need, because nobody's gonna drive this past 7/10 out on the street anyway. And for that, I think this gives you so much excitement and fun. RS5, I'm assuming is gonna ride a little too stiff. This thing rides perfectly. In fact, this rides almost identical to the A5s, in my opinion. I mean, it's maybe 1 or 2% stiffer than like your typical A5, but it is so smooth, so comfortable, quiet, refined, effortless thrust. There's really nothing to complain about other than maybe the lack of soul. But you know, the lack of soul comes from a vehicle doing everything so well that you're just kind of along for the ride type of thing. Like the car is just doing all the work for you. So you know, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. It's just a different feeling, and I think there's definitely a market out there for people that appreciate a feel like this, along with all the technology as well as the solid build quality that comes with purchasing an Audi product, right? Nothing is creaking and rattling. I will mention this one con. When you're kind of at slower speeds, this vehicle kind of like creaks a little bit. I think it's with the brakes. If you got like a smoother brake pad, that might be able to solve the issue, but when you're kind of like creeping at slow speeds, you might get a little sound. Outside of that, there is no other issues with this vehicle. Like the BMW, the 440 from 2019, rides much stiffer than this vehicle. I will say that car has a little bit more character than this, but for the most part, this is the kind of complete package that I think most people are looking for in like a $60,000 car, because that's what it costs now. With the pandemic prices, even with 34,000 miles on it, that's just what you're gonna have to pay. At least you're getting a Prestige model with the Bang and Olufsen. That's a pretty rare find, and that audio system is definitely worth it, I will say that. High-speed stability is excellent. You know, it's just a great cruiser, both in the city, the highway, no compromises, no real complaints. You're gonna enjoy this driving experience, and you can get this vehicle with the warranty because it's pretty much brand new, and enjoy it with that. It's going to be a headache-free experience for you, and it's going to do everything that you need. You will be compromising on the rear legroom, but you know, it just depends on how much you like your rear occupants. You know, maybe they're not the priority here. Maybe you would rather use this for its trunk utility. So there you go. I would personally go with the S5 over the S4. But keep in mind, if you want the S4, it's not a problem. The trunk is massive in that thing, but it's not going to be like a hatchback. You can't put like taller objects in there. But yes, you can go either way. Check them both out. But I personally, I would go with the S5 because it's just cooler. I like the hatchback practicality, and it's not really sacrificing much in terms of the way it handles either. So there you go. That's my review on this S5. I will leave all of European Performance's information down in the description box if you are interested in purchasing this car. But thanks again for watching this video. Take care and goodbye.